let's talk about defeating fallen Archbishop Andreus in Liza P. Highly recommend practicing at least the first phase solo until you can get to the second phase on your own. This is because we are going to use the Spectre in the second phase, but it has a very specific role during that phase. And you don't want to kind of like feel desperate just getting through the first phase and then hoping Spectre is going to carry you through the second. It's just not going to happen. This boss is a very parry heavy boss, so blocking is quite likely to get you squashed, or if you're in the wrong position or taking the wrong attacks, inflicted with decay, which is just bad. Archbishop Andreus has tongue attacks, and they're going to inflict you with decay, which, if I remember rightly, basically increases the amount of damage your weapons and stuff are going to take, so it's just overall pain in the ass. Sorry to say. I attempted doing things like setting it on fire and inflicting with shock, seemed pretty heavily resistant to it. Even after discharging my full Legion arm on it with both status elements, couldn't get either of them to proc on it. So it's either very resistant or immune. One of the two is probably true. Now then, in the first phase, the main thing you're going to be contending with, we have three kind of attacks here. There's not really much value in trying to get behind it because it has a spine there that protects it, and you're just going to bounce off it. You'll do minimal damage, and it's actually going to interrupt you and leave you open to an attack if it decides it's going to spin around. So you don't want to go directly behind it. I spent most of my time to my left, its right hand leg. This is kind of where it wants to attack you from anyway, so it's just going to end up naturally that way. And we've got three main kind of combos of attacks we have to be worried about. First one is the tongue attack. This is the main one that you definitely want to make sure that you parry. This Archbishop Andreus attack can inflict you with the decaying status effect, so you want to make sure you're parrying this. The thing that helps me the most is not looking at the tongue but looking at the head. When it starts nodding forward, and then when it kind of starts swinging its head to the side, that's generally speaking when you want to start getting your parry ready. The next one is the leg attacks. This has variants. Sometimes it's 2 from the left, 3 from the left, 1 from the left. Well, it's right, our left, but it always finishes with an attack from the blind side, the side that you can't see. So generally speaking, I try and parry the near ones and then keep my block up for when it does the swing attack. This attack's always the same, so just make sure you don't get caught out by that one. During the red attacks, realistically, you can try to parry them. I find the timing really, really difficult with them, and sometimes I end up just taking the block and then taking the damage anyways. But if you do end up underneath it, try to get out through the back end of it, because they do have like a forward momentum to them. So if you can get out the back end, it's very likely that the attack will miss and you can get straight back into the fight, which is rather useful. That pretty much sums up the moves for the first phase of Archbishop Andreus in Liza P. I know this all sounds really weird, but the algorithm likes it when I say the thing in the video very often. So if I say Andreus a lot and Liza P a lot, I apologize. Anyways, that moves us on to phase 2, and the plan here is to try and basically keep its moveset fairly similar. So provided your Spectre has made it through the first phase with a decent amount of health, what you want to do is heal, probably, because you're likely to have taken some damage. Allow the Spectre to take the aggro of the now upgraded Archbishop, and then try and get around the side of it and to the back. You want to attack the same base that we've been attacking all the way through phase 1. This is because whilst the snake-like Archbishop is aggroed on the Spectre, this side won't even be attacking you, so you can get in there and you can get a significant amount of damage in there, especially if you get some stuns, so it's not actually even doing damage to the Spectre during that point. Just absolutely wail on it. This is going to get you a ton of damage, and obviously if you can get a crit in there, if you're lucky, or if you're using like a heavier weapon that does more stagger damage, so you can get the fatal attacks in there, that's obviously going to be helpful as well. I don't think I got one on mine. The other effect of this is going to be that when the Spectre dies, or if this side decides it's going to wake up, then this side is going to be aggroed on you, and it's just going to be the same moves or very similar moves to the first phase, with the main differences being the red slam attack. Now it'll walk a little bit towards you, which actually makes it easier to avoid because you just run under its legs and straight to the back of it. The same thing is true. It still wants to slam forward. Part of the way through the fight, I don't know if this can repeat it. It's only ever done it once per battle for me. It will now start charging up like a blue AoE attack. I find this very difficult to avoid, so make sure when it's doing this, try to get a heal off or something. It seems like the first beam that comes from the lower head side, that projects pretty far, in fact almost to the end of the arena. I tried running away from it in some of the practice runs. The best place to stand is under its neck, not its head, because that will count as a part of the hitbox. And then you kind of want to come out from underneath it, if you can do it in time, and to the side a little bit, because the serpent side is going to slam its staff down, and that will cover underneath the entirety of the creature. So very difficult attack to avoid. I don't think I avoided it once. I just kind of worked out where to run to while I was fighting it. So just make sure that that is something that you're doing. When it slams down, it'll be be vulnerable for a few seconds. Continue being aggressive. Target the same face and keep its aggro on that side. As long as you keep on doing this, give it a few tries, Andreas's ass will be yours.